What if a single book could challenge everything you think you know about your past, your happiness, and your ability to change? Well, today, we're diving into a philosophy that does exactly that. And trust me, it's a total game changer. So let me ask you this right off the bat. Do you believe that your past determines your future? The idea that what happened to you as a kid, or even just last week, is the reason you are the way you are today? It's how most of us think, right? But the philosophy we're about to explore, it offers a completely different path. And that path comes from the book, The Courage to be Disliked. It's basically a crash course in the psychology of Alfred Adler, who was right there alongside Freud and Jung, but whose ideas were so forward-thinking, they're only now really catching on. So let's jump in and see what this is all about.
To really get our heads around this, we first need to understand a fundamental clash, a real fork in the road when it comes to how we view our lives.
Okay, so on one side, you've got etiology. This is the Freudian way of thinking that most of us are familiar with. It says our present is the effect of past causes. It's like a line of dominoes, right? Your past knocks over your present. But on the other side, you have Adler's teleology. And this says, no, we're not pushed by our past. We are pulled by the goals we set in the present. We're not victims of our history. We are architects of our future. That's a huge shift, isn't it?
And this is where things get really controversial. This next idea completely flips the script on how we think about our personal histories. So, brace yourself.
Adlerian psychology flatly denies the existence of trauma. Now, I know that sounds incredibly jarring, maybe even offensive, but hang on, because the logic behind it is actually pretty profound. This quote from Adler himself really gets to the heart of it. He's not saying that terrible things don't happen to people. Of course they do. What he's arguing is that it's not the event itself that defines us. It's the meaning we choose to give it. We take the raw material of our past experiences, and we build a story that serves a purpose for us right now.
So that is teleology in a nutshell. Your life isn't some script that was written for you a long time ago. You're the author, and you are writing the story in this very moment, based on the goals you want to achieve. It's not about what's happened to you. It's about what you are trying to do. Okay, so if we're driven by our goals, how does that play out in our day-to-day lives? What about something as raw and immediate as our emotions? Well, let's take a look at anger and see why we really do what we do. I want you to think about the last time you got genuinely angry. Did it feel like this wave of emotion that just swept over you, totally out of your control? Or, and here's the radical idea, was it a tool that you chose to use? Let's say you're at a cafe and a waiter spills coffee on you. Now, you could calmly explain the situation, get a towel, and sort it out. But that takes time and patience. According to Adler, you have a much faster goal. Make the waiter submit and fix this now. So what do? You manufacture a tool, anger. You start shouting. And what's the result? You get your way, fast, without having to have a reasonable conversation. See, anger isn't this uncontrollable force. It's a tool. We can take it out when we need it and put it right back away. Think about a parent who's yelling at their kid. The phone rings, and instantly, they switch to a perfectly polite, calm voice. Then, as soon as they hang up, the shouting starts again. They weren't possessed by anger. They were just choosing when to use it and when not to. So, if we're choosing our emotions and our life stories all based on our current goals, then what's the one thing that gets in the way? What's the common denominator, the real root cause of all our problems and unhappiness? Adler drops this really interesting clue. He says that to truly get rid of all your problems, you would have to live in the universe completely alone. What do you think he's getting at with that? And here it is, the big reveal. Every single problem, from your feelings of insecurity to your anxiety about work to your worries about the future, at its core, it is a problem of interpersonal relationships. Think about it. If there was no one else on the planet to compare yourself to, no one to judge you, no one's expectations to live up to, all your problems would just vanish. This happens because so many of us get trapped seeing life as a competition. The world feels like this dangerous place, and everyone else is an opponent. If they succeed, that's somehow my defeat. If they're happy, it takes away from my own happiness. But Adler suggests a whole different worldview. What if you saw life as a cooperative game? What if other people weren't your rivals but your comrades? If you can make that mental shift, your entire world changes. Okay, so let's put this all together.
If our past doesn't control us and all our problems are just relationship problems, then why is it so incredibly hard to just change, to just choose to be happy? Well, the answer is both very simple and really, really challenging. Here's the hard truth. The reason we don't change is because deep down, we are making the continuous decision not to. Even if our current life makes us unhappy, it's familiar. We know how to navigate it. It's safer. Changing is scary. It brings uncertainty and anxiety. And so we choose the comfort of our misery over the fear of the unknown. So it's not about the cards you were dealt in life. It's all about how you decide to play the hand you have. It's about what you do with the equipment you've got right here in this moment. That perspective shifts you from being a victim of your circumstances to the creator of your life. And that brings us to the single most important takeaway from this entire philosophy. If you are unhappy, it is not because you are broken. It's not because your past was too difficult or because you're not smart enough or talented enough. It is simply a lack of courage. The courage to be happy. The courage to risk being disliked by others for living your own life. So ultimately, this whole idea leaves us with a really powerful and maybe a little bit terrifying choice. Your past doesn't matter. Your future isn't set in stone. Your entire life is being decided by you, right here, right now. So the only question left is, what are you going to choose?